Welcome to the Family Office Insider Podcast. My name is Jason Nagel, and I'm the founder of 360 Wealth, the family office located in Calgary, Alberta. And today I'm going to be talking to you about estate planning, and more specifically, estate planning for those that have a family trust. So a lot of the families that we work with have family trusts in place, and these family trusts often will own assets such as shares in an operating company, as well as shares in a holding company. And within the holding company, there often is ownership of buildings, market-based investments, other rental properties, perhaps other investments into some other operating companies as well. And so it's important to understand, though, that if you have a family trust in place, that the trustees of that family trust are holding those assets for the benefit of the beneficiaries. And so you do not own those assets. The trustees are holding them for the benefit of the beneficiaries, which means that those assets will not be governed by the terms of your will if you were to pass away. So imagine that you have a bunch of personal assets in place as well. So you've got a home, perhaps you've got a rental property, maybe you've got a family vacation property, you've got a non-registered investment account, and maybe some preferred shares in your operating company as well. And you own all of this personally. Those assets will be governed by the terms of your will. So if you say that you want these assets on your death to initially go to your spouse, and then on the last to die of you and your spouse, you would like these assets to go down to your children equally, and perhaps you want half of it to go at the age of 30, the other half to go at 35, well, that's how those assets will be distributed. They'll be distributed according to the terms of your will that you drafted. However, what's going to happen with the assets that are held by the family trust, right? So those assets will not be governed by the terms of your will. So this is where it becomes really important that you have the right trustees in place. And so perhaps you need a document that outlines who is to appoint the trustees on the last to die of you and your spouse. And also, it's probably important to have what's called a letter of wishes. A letter of wishes is a non-legally binding document that outlines what you would like to have happen with those trust assets on your death. And so if you and your spouse both were trustees and you both pass away, who's going to be the person appointed to appoint trustees? And then the letter of wishes is to ideally give those trustees an idea as to what you want to have happen with those assets on your death. So perhaps you talk about within the letter how you would like your assets to be distributed according to the terms of your will. The idea behind this is that it gives your trustees some idea, some understanding of what you ultimately want to have happen with the ownership of the market-based investments held by that holding company. The purpose of this podcast is just to share those little nuances with you, because I do believe that there are a lot of families out there that think that they own a family trust, they own those assets, and those assets will be governed by the terms of their will, and that's just not how it is. And so I hope that you found this podcast helpful. If you have, feel free to follow us. If you want to learn a little bit more about what we do, check us out on our website at 360wealth.ca. Thank you. Take care.